it wasn't.
New style NASA panel.
That bit of teacup, mate.
Dollar bill, yo. Cash rules everything around.
Welcome back to another karting video, and last time you saw us, best part of half a year ago, we were at Warden Law for the second round of the UKC, and despite a promising pre-round, we struggled with rib injury in the main event, and then due to budget we had to miss the following round at GYG. So the next outing for us then is Rowrah in Cumbria. Look at that view as well. Woo! Portrait, Tammy, get the how can I edit that? Perks of racing around the country. You get to see the sights, you get to see Sittingbourne Industrial Estate, you get to see Cumbria, you get to see North Wales, and last but not least, you get to see Sunderland. Thank you, ma'am. Oh, it's going up with a crash. So, Rowrah, or Cumbria Kart Racing Club, is obviously right in the heart of the Lake District, which made for some absolutely spectacular views we took advantage of on the Thursday on our way up. Is one of the benefits of doing a national championship, getting to see all these really awesome places in the country. I'm not sure it tops Sunderland, but yeah, it's pretty spectacular, even on a cloudy day like this. So yeah, we managed to save the best part of £100 or so on this amazing find on Airbnb. I'll link that in the description if you're thinking of staying in the area. Our Airbnb. Whew. Actually quite lush. Should we go? But yeah, first thing on Friday morning, already off to a shaky start with a broken loom. Just one of the tabs just clean snapped off. And yeah, very breezy. So here we are heading out for one of the sessions in Friday practice. And believe it or not, this is filmed in June. And judging by the rather chilly looking circuit, a few people struggling to warm up these Comet tyres. Of course, at this point in time, well, when this was filmed, still a shortage of the Mojo tyres, so we are once again running on the Comet hard compound. And Friday practice was not a straightforward one at all. First of all, first time in a kart in 2 months, so the last time we were out was in fact that round at Warden Law where we had the rib injury. And the issue, I think we just did a ligament or something. Actually turned out it was just my rib protector that was knackered, and it was fixed a month after this was filmed. But yeah, as you can probably tell by the engine note, the kart's not quite releasing off the hairpins very well, and a bit of a problem around Rowrah because about 60% of the lap is hairpins and straights. So if you're not getting a good exit off one, you're getting a pretty horrible lap for you. Now, some of this is caused by me not really going into the corner hard enough and thus not getting the kart to release properly on the exit and loading it up properly. But a big part of this is there is definitely an underlying issue with the car. So whilst I might not be driving absolutely perfectly at this point, that is for certain, I was about 3 seconds or 2.5 to 3 seconds off the pace. So I'm literally trundling around at outlap pace. And I'm just going to show you one of my last laps from Friday, and yeah, let's go through this circuit. So first corner uphill, chicane, just glance the second curve. You don't want to hit the first one. Run all of the exit, brake late just past the cut through, run it wide on the hairpin, brake late into the second hairpin, probably a little bit too early on that occasion. But yeah, the car just really not wanting to release, and the same is true with this third hairpin. Now, Could have braked a fraction later, but at this point still trying to learn the track. Haven't had much running here obviously since the crash in January, and to add to this, we're on fairly knackered tyres by this point. I think they've done probably 2 and a bit days. But yeah, love the fast sections, and you can see through the faster sections we're a lot calmer on the wheel than Rowrah. It's one thing I really made a conscious effort to do with this weekend, to just be smoother. There were so many points, especially on the Comet tyres, where I was hacking away at the wheel, unloading the car, looking like a muppet generally. So I really wanted to fix that and just, you know, just be calm at the wheel, go into the corners hard enough to make the car work. Because believe it or not, for those who aren't really in the know, basically the harder you go into the corner, the more grip you get in most scenarios. Obviously you don't want to overdrive it, but you need to go in hard to make the kart jack and ping off the corners. The way these karts work, they turn when the rear and side wheel is in the air. So yeah, you need to go in hard for that to work properly. But yeah, definitely not a happy bunny. Do have some footage now from Saturday. So the team were adamant that this has just been caused by me braking too early and thus not getting the exit. So one of the suspicions I had was either electrical fault or just something in the carburetor. That's one of the 2 big problems you can have with the Rotax engine. We're cutting now to Saturday practice, where after cleaning the carburetor we were absolutely flying compared to before. We went from doing 49s, being about 3 seconds off the pace because we just couldn't get off the hairpins, to doing I think high 46s. I think the results might be, I think on my right micron I got like a 46.9, and with the front runners in our session doing mid to low 46s, some on new tyres, I was suddenly full of confidence now, bearing in mind I was catching people kart lengths on the brakes on knackered old tyres. So I was feeling really confident now for my first heat, starting near the front, or roughly in the front. I think it was about 9th or 10th. But yeah, the Saturday practice gave me a lot more confidence. I was going into the corners a lot harder, braking a lot later than before. It's a shame I didn't actually film the Saturday practice, because you only get 2 sessions in the morning and I wanted to save the battery for the actual heats. But by contrast to the other day where we were seconds off, I think in the Saturday practice I was only a couple of tenths off my teammate Louis Weaver, and that is obviously a massive difference. Louis obviously got podium last time we were racing at Rowrah, and whilst I'm not for a moment suggesting I'm quicker than him or going to be close to him in the race, I know I should be thereabouts if I'm close to his times on old tyres. So that gave me a lot of hope. Gearing up for this first heat then. Starting 10th, brand new tyres. Obviously we don't do qualifying or traditional time qualifying like the British Champs or a lot of clubs. So now we have to scrub in this new set of tyres in just 1 outlap, which is quite a task, as Jexy finds out there through this first chicane. Very easy to do. We had a lot of incidents this weekend where people either spun off or went into the barriers even, just trying to warm these tyres up. It is literally like driving on ice, and the most efficient way to warm these sort of tyres up is to just go into the corners really hard, not necessarily through weaving and sliding. That doesn't actually help at all really. But for example, through this corner, going in fairly hot, making the car understeer and just loading them up and generating heat through that. Now I think we were meant to just have the 1 formation lap, but I think everyone else didn't fancy that either, so they sped up, and as the field was so spread out it was a false start, so they got an extra cheeky warm-up lap, which I'm pretty sure was deliberate, because I don't blame them for 1 second. So now heading up to the start, it's a bit awkward. You're sort of accelerating to the start as you're going round the last corner, a bit like Rowrah in that respect, but we're off and racing, trying to hold the middle of the track, covering the insides of the middle, just trying to block off anyone getting through. Want to just get a clean start, but false start flag probably comes out. We have to go round once again. So second time of asking, can we get a clean start? It's okay, it's not horrendous, but it's not amazing. We're going to just hold the middle ground, make them work their way around us, really cutting off any chance of the opposition to get through there. and we live to fight another day. So through the chicane we go now up to hairpin 1. Thought about a move to the outside, as Louis Harvey demonstrates here. It's quite a high risk move, and I didn't fancy doing it for my front heat where I start near the front. I thought that would work better in the heats where I start nearer the back. Now our teammate Louis Weaver gets shuffled wide by the 66. We're not going to fight him, we're just going to tuck him behind because we know Louis has got the pace, and he's also on a brand new kart for this weekend. A bit of loading going on into that hairpin, and just generally struggling to get the kart slowed down. On new tyres, we should have a lot more grip, but as you can see, the front of the end is just not switching on. We've got bucket loads of understeer going on. We've now dropped behind significantly, and we're going to get shafted into the last corner. Yeah, I went from having what felt like just so much confidence in the practice sessions, even on old tyres. I was so confident in attacking the course and all the corners, and then we get to the new tyres where theoretically we should be flying, and it's just not happening. I just don't have the front end, can't slow the kart down, just feel like I've got no grip basically. And to make matters worse, the camera decided to fall off. So yeah, this was suddenly just turned into a nightmare, and people we were driving away from and catching easily on destroyed tyres in practice were now coming up to get us, and really quite a bizarre scenario. Now you've really got to work the tyres hard to get the most out of them, but we weren't struggling in the practice, and it's just a bizarre change of events. But our day just got a whole lot worse. So in the process of that crash, my leg and particularly my knee took a bit of a beating. And when you're at the fastest point of the track, you sort of want to get to the side of the track as soon as possible. So yeah, just looking at it again, Scott Dunsmore we've been in a lot of battles with, and we've already braked and got back on the power at this point, and he's only just getting alongside when we're getting back on the power. Clobbers the curb, which sends him out onto me. The chassis rail goes into my kneecap, which is probably what caused a lot of the pain. Yeah, you can see, you can only just see his nose in the corner of the shot, just as we're getting to the apex. So it was an ambitious move. But yeah, as I hobble away from the carts, screaming past. But yeah, I was in quite a bit of discomfort. I knew I wasn't injured particularly. They came over as a precaution, so thanks to the UKC and all the medics for coming over to check on us. I was pretty happy to walk away by myself. They offered me a lift with the ambulance, but yeah, just a bit sore, just struggling. They gave me an ice pack and the usual stuff. Like I didn't feel much pain at the time. I knew I would once the adrenaline would wear off. But yeah, nothing broken, nothing serious. Although to this day, and I'm recording this in September, I still get random pain in my right knee, especially when I'm trying to do anything in the gym. Yeah, it didn't feel like my worst crash, but it certainly feels like it now.
Wait, what's the new style NASA panel? That bit of teacup went.
Dollar bill, yo.
But yeah, from the lows of Friday to the highs of Saturday practice, and then crashing back down again. I think it looks hurried to get over. He inadvertently put a hole in his shorts. The walk of shame back through the paddock, and safe to say the kart was not in a good stead at all. Very, very bent, so we had to straighten it out, and quite a quick turnaround as well because we had all of our heats scheduled for the afternoon.
No. All we've got is what's in the Gillard box.
So Luke and John got jiggy with it, and big thanks to them, we were out for the second of 3 heats. This one being our start from the back, no pressure, starting alongside the likes of Lewis Wilde and Caden McQueen, so we had a good reference in this one. And yeah, a bit less pressure starting from the back. We didn't have all the time in the world to try and straighten the car out fully, so this was going to be a bit of an ask as we get underway. No, we don't. You can see there tilting up to show the false start flag on the digiboard. Maybe second time I'm asking, we'll get underway, and it's another false start. Not entirely sure why though. In all honesty, it felt like the whole pack was together, and Lewis Wilde once again demonstrating just how treacherous it could be, warming up cold tyres on the outlap. As you can see there, I didn't actually notice at the time that marshal at the end of the straight putting out the green flag. Now most of us didn't actually notice that, because when there's a false start you expect it to be restarted again at the start finish line, and then we finally notice there's a green flag at that marshal post, and I think Caden noticed it at that point as well, and now we can go racing. I think quite like half the field was really very spread out by this point. If we go through the chicane, Dylan Briley unfortunately had a miserable day with puncture on one of his tyres, where the bead screw just ripped the tyre in transit supposedly. But yeah, we're now very very spread out, and it's robbed us of the opportunity to make up loads of positions at the start, so it's going to be a very difficult race from this point onwards. Caden McQueen, one of the championship protagonists, has only just managed to get past the back mark. So yeah, cutting forward a few laps now, and we finally managed to close in. Yeah, carrying on a lot more speed through this fast section of the track. Yeah, really leaning on the cart now through this last corner. So making up, suddenly off to a slightly more positive start. Now the aim is to just get a really good run, catching so much on the brakes into hairpin 1, but frustratingly, so does Lewis Wilde. He has a look, because we're now 3 abreast coming into hairpin 2. I think better of it, and prefer to go for the undercut, but then as a consequence on the tight line don't get the exit, so frustrating stuff in this opening few laps. We now cut a lap later, same story, getting a cracking run off hairpin 1, going for the move, but then seeing the Battenberg flag has come out. Now for those who are not familiar, this is effectively like a safety car in karting, so the leader has to slow down, we all have to slow down, all bunch up, and yeah, after a couple of laps or so in that scenario we then get a restart, and it's rather bizarre because that is only ever really called in the event of, you know, an accident, or there has to be a real reason, but it appears that that was just done purely because people complained about how appalling the start procedure was. And it does mean, however, it's given us another lifeline, and we can close in on these carts. This cart in front is just weaving all over the place in the braking zone, really putting us off. And then to make matters worse, we just got a nose cone penalty because someone decided to park it on the apex of a flat out chicane. And then yeah, this guy then goes and spins and one of the fastest corners. So really excellent driving standards on display here in the 4th round of the UKC. But finally, can we get this move done? Again, the front just not working for me through that first chicane. Car is a bit more of a handful. We didn't really get all the time in the world to straighten it out. Ben Perry goes defensive, which then gives us an opportunity. We're going to try get both in one go as we tap on the helmet to signal, come on, let's not be stupid here, and just squabble over 3rd to last place like anyone actually gives a flying and then yeah, much calmer on the wheel now, pulling a bit of a gap, but still not really able to replicate the pace I had on old tyres or very similar to what I was doing on old tyres, which really isn't what we wanted. We wanted to make a step forward and gain at least a few tenths, but it just hasn't worked. Tammy, sum up the day.
Pretty so you got run over, and then after 3 police cars and a police van comes for an investigation because crash. Well,
And our second heat wasn't really a heat. Yeah. So our second heat started 32nd. Thought, oh, this would be great. Make up loads of places. Get a false start once, not twice, but 3 times. And then when we carried on again, because normally it would be a red flag situation, and they'd either give you a bollocking and go around again, or you do a standing start. And instead, 3/4 of the way around the next lap, they just stick a green flag out, and we're all spread out, and apparently that's the race. And then for some reason they stick a Battenberg flag out, which is effectively a safety car, bunches us up a bit. And then, yeah, like literally, just as I was about to make an overtake, they bring out the Battenberg, bunch us up, and we get 2 laps.
apparently it's because a lot of
People complained.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought going around is like, I bet you they're just doing that to make up for the shit start.
But then it made
It was a joke. It was a complete farce. It wasn't a race. So off for the final day of action here at Rowrah, and due to a police investigation for a really nasty accident in the Micromax heat yesterday, our final heat got postponed to the Sunday morning, and it's lights out, away we go. Slightly, well, horrific getaway for myself. Just really struggling to get going off the line when we're accelerating around the last corner. The car just wanted to bog. But now into hairpin 1, we try that outside move that we were talking about the other day, and we're going to clear both Chrissy Miller and Alex Moody. And Moody all in one, but then they promptly get us back in 1 go. So all that heroics just swiftly undone in a corner or so. But we're going to try to tuck in and settle in here. We're still in an okay position, just the front again just not working for us. We're trying to go into these corners hard to activate the car to make it work, and we're just getting bucket loads of understeer everywhere. The car is just at this point pretty mangled, and Chrissy Miller there getting it all wrong into the last corner. He's going to lose a handful of places. Ben Doughty now alongside us. He's a quick driver, so we know we can just trust him and tuck in, just get on with it, try and follow him. Dan Hughes now behind us, and we've been a bit quicker than him at the start of the season, so we should be ahead of this gaggle really. Will Young behind us. We were, I think, down the road a bit at Wilton. He seems to have found some pace though now as he comes down the inside into hairpin 1, and we just cannot respond. It's really embarrassing that actually Dan gets some air there, and we're just getting mugged left, right and centre. But we're going to try get some momentum back on Dan Hughes, and as is often the case in karting, if you're not going forwards, you're going backwards, and at a rate of knots, as Chrissy Miller now tries to follow through after that earlier mistake. But yeah, we're really still not quite releasing off the corner properly. Some of that is just not going in hard enough, but it's just bizarre. On this newer tyre, we are probably going slower, if not the same, as Miller now gives us a chop for, well, literally no reason, into the first chicane. Probably thought I was going to try and get back at him. And now the ultimate R car, I believe, is going to go down the inside. That's the 33. We're going to, again, just try and hang on to the back of these quicker cars. Going into the second hairpin, going to try going hard and get the cart to jack. And we get a reasonable exit, actually, which gives me hope to go forward a little more. But then just cannot get the cart slowed down. It is a bizarre feeling after having so much confidence in the Saturday practice. And yes, I am willing to accept that I am making a lot of mistakes being out the kart for 2 months and just, yeah, generally not really doing as much as I should to be competitive at this level. But at the same time, it is a bizarre feeling, and I know of people who've complained of bad batches of tyres. How much truth that is, I don't know, because I know there was an issue with the Comet tyres a few years ago in X30. I'm just finding I have no grip compared to the old tyres. It's bizarre. I've had this before with the Maxxis Sports, where I've had a set of tyres half a second quicker than the other. But yeah, we just went backwards again. Dan Hughes and another car got through, which is just bizarre. I mean, I'm not trying to discredit their efforts at all, but we're just really, really struggling. And from being so comfortable in Saturday practice, I mean, maybe some people are on older tyres than us, but we were also on fairly old tyres, and it just felt sort of easy. The car was just working as I wanted, whereas here I just had no front. And it's probably a combination of the crash and, yeah, the car being a bit mangled at this point. But we used these tyres again at Buckmore a month or so down the line, and we were rapid. Bit of a spoiler alert, but yeah, it is a strange situation. It's one of the worst feelings, and because of this, I think we now go to the superheat. Remarkably, we were still in the top 34 to make it through to the super final. We actually qualified 33rd in the points, I think, out of 40 something. But on the formation lap here, there's a big crash from one of the Hunter Motorsport cars, just showing how easy it is to make a mistake on cold tyres. So realistically, we should get through to the televised final for the first time all season, because if we stay where we are, then we'll make it, more or less. But yeah, front washing out on the outlap did us no favours, and we managed to, just by going a little bit wide on the grass, we picked some rubber up and got into our actual sprocket carrier in the gap between the protector and the sprocket, and it's wedged in there, and you can actually hear it, the vibration. It's making my car just sound like a tractor. But luckily we got this red flag, and I imagine at this point I knew something was stuck under my car, quite where, I wasn't entirely sure. Wondered if the exhaust had come loose at one point, obviously touching a hot exhaust with your race glove there. Real genius move. Used the opportunity while they cleared up the barriers from that crash to try and see what's going on. Maybe something trapped underneath the car. You can see the jolt there. There was something definitely wedged in that sprocket. But it's going to be difficult to remove that in the time we have without any tools. Obviously I can't just take the chain guard up and just find it. It's properly wedged in there. And a big thank you to Ben Perry actually there, who just offered to help me in sorting the car. But I had to decline because I didn't want him to get disqualified, because I think that would count as outside assistance. The officials aren't on the other side of the track there. They're not allowed to help us either mechanically. So shout out to him for his offer there. But yeah, as we're coming down the straight, you can hear the vibration quite noticeably at low speed. And I'm just going to have no choice but to pull in here, because even at half speed down the straight, it is shaking the crap out of the car, and I just can't risk like something going wrong at that speed. It's definitely not fast, but yeah, a devastating finish to this weekend. We're not even going to start the pre-final when the super final was literally right there for the taking. We could have recovered something from this weekend as I waved to the medic there. But I was no words. One of the worst feelings when you don't even get to have the opportunity in the first place. It was all a silly thing, just going off slightly wide. The guy who crashed incidentally on the outlap was able to carry on.
Why did he come in? There's a horrible vibration even at low speed. Like, it sounds horrendous. It sounded almost like I thought the exhaust was loose or something, but then.
But yeah, just stunned silence at this point. And I knew realistically this would probably be my last UKC race with the struggling budget I have, not able to do GYG and then not looking to be able to do the rest of the season. But just such a stupid error, again, costing me.
Is that in the motor? The clutch is gone.
Carrier?
Carrier.
That's it. Rowrah's done. Tammy's got the travel pillow. 6.5 hours to go. Oh, and my shades are in my bag, and now the sun's come out. There we go, I'll use yours, that's it. They're more bent than my cart. So yeah, in short, it was a bit of a disappointing weekend. Friday was a complete waste of time, because, well, everyone was complaining I couldn't get off the hairpins when the carb was just dirty. And then, yeah, we had a huge crash. We brought out a red flag for the first time. Yeah, let's focus on the positives. Brought out a red flag for the first time. We had a police investigation. Yeah.
Got a lift from an ambulance.
Yeah, I got a lift about 15 metres from an ambulance, if that. But yeah, pre-final, we just managed, I don't know how, like, we managed to get something wedged in our sprocket and destroyed it pretty much, and picked up a huge vibration on the outlap and had to come in. Like, what are the chances? The amount of people that have crashed this weekend on the formation lap warming up tyres or doing whatever and touching a bit of grass, I managed to get something wedged in like one of the smallest places that caused me not to even start the pre-final. I did half of the races. First heat got taken out. Second heat wasn't really a heat, it was a complete farce because they messed up the start. Third heat was the only real race I had, and in the pre-final I didn't start. So yeah, had a actually really decent chance of making it. I think we were 33rd in the points, and that's with a DNF and some pretty horrendous heats. So yeah, probably looking to go more local next time. Getting in, right, it's saying we're going to get in about 11:45, but we're going to stop off at some point, so fun. So yeah, that concludes this video, guys. Thank you ever so much for watching if you're still there. And I apologise, of course, for the delay. This actually took place in June. But yeah, look out, though, for the next episode as we return to the local Kent karting scene at Buttmore Park. And I promise that is a much more positive episode as we go to a track that we absolutely love with some of our old friends again. And yeah, I promise many sends and many moves happening. But take care, guys. I will see you again very soon. Goodbye.